HD television is on the air. Welcome to our new show, The Artist Corner, where we spotlight the best in writers and entrepreneurs, athletes, comedians, musicians, artists, and more. Stay tuned for great interviews coming up. And now, your host, author H.D. Campbell. Welcome to the premiere episode of The Artist Corner with H.D. Campbell. This is my second show. I've been trying to do this show for years, and now I'm finally able to do it, and I get to spotlight my friends in business, athletes, politicians, musicians, artists of all kinds. If you want to be spotlighted on my show, you can hit me up on my AC Television Facebook page. You can always hit me up on my regular Facebook page, AC Campbell, or AC Campbell Books. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. You can hit me up on Instagram. I am everywhere. I mean, you can catch me anywhere. But for this show today, I got a treat for you. I got comedian Ronni Jay. She's been a great friend for years and a funny comedian, and she didn't always know her calling. Now that she has her calling, she has her feet planted. And I've given her the whole hour. And there's going to be a lot of shows in which I'm going to give the whole hour to. I'm talking to a lot of people now with big productions and other things that's going to be on the show, and I can't wait. So when we come back, we're going to do part one of our interview with comedian Ronni Jay. Welcome to Sassy's Shirt Shop, where quality meets professional meets fun. If you need a t-shirt for your events, your business, your sports teams, and more, Sassy Shirt Shop has the designs for you. We accommodate t-shirts, sweatshirts, and jackets of all sizes, all events, all specific to your needs. Ordering is easy. You can place your orders over the phone at 314-229-7163 for a quote. You can email Sassy at sassyshirtshop@gmail.com, or you can log on to her website at www.sassyshirtshop.com, where she can also do custom merchandising as well as cups and ball caps. What can Sassy Thomas design for you? Let her know and find out. See you soon. Before we get into our interview, I want to just say a couple of things about the show. If you have a business you want to endorse, if you have an event you want to endorse, whatever you want to do, just hit me up on the show. Because also, in addition to interviews, I'm also in between segments. I'm also going to have people's flyers up. I'm going to be reading community announcements. I'm also, and especially if you're from St. Louis, I mean, everybody throughout the country is going to get spotlighted, but if you're in my hometown, you're going to really get the spotlight. So I mean, just hit me up and we'll talk about it. We'll get you whether you want to be interviewed, whether you want to be advertised on the show at some point, whatever you want to do, let me know. And also, too, in addition, you will also be on my media page at atcampbellmedia.com, where I'm going to have a special page just for your ads and everything, and I'll show you how to get that throughout different episodes. So, I'm going to shut up, and we're going to go with part one with comedian Ronni Jay. Talk about that show last night that you did.
So last night, the show that I performed at, it was called "The Future Is Female," and it was at the Heavy Anchor on Gravois. So this is pretty much a showcase, of course, with female identifying comedians. It was a real nice lineup. Very great vibes. The audience, the people that were there was absolutely great, and they showed a lot of love. It was a phenomenal lineup, like very dope.
Yeah, I love that.
Let me see. First, I never did consider going into comedy a long time ago, to be honest. Back when I was doing poetry, like a lot of poetry that I was doing, it was like some of it came out funny without me even trying to be funny. And I had a few people tell me like, you're a pretty good poet, but you are really a comedian. Like I had to have people tell me like, no, you're a comedian. Like that's what you need to do. Um, Really, I was supposed to get started in 2020 with this whole comedy thing, but of course, everything with the pandemic happened, and of course, children ended up having to be at home, and so I really had to get focused as far as getting them squared away with their virtual education, especially my youngest son, because my youngest son, as a lot of people know, is autistic, and so a whole lot went into me having to do his virtual learning with him, because in that moment I became everything. I became the teacher, I became the occupational therapist, the speech teacher, the resource teacher, even though, all of them still did their sessions on Zoom, but still it was like completely and totally up to me to keep him afloat as far as everything, as far as his therapies and all that with the pandemic, because I know, because right now I work in special education as well. And I heard from some parents of my students that like when the pandemic hit, their children, some of their children, like regressed or whatever during the pandemic, because of course it was an adjustment for any children, but it's really a huge adjustment when you're dealing with special needs children, because you're breaking that constant routine that they're used to. Um, and so like pretty much like I said, I was supposed to start 2020, but of course the pandemic hit. But I'm just a firm believer of timing, and I felt like once the time once it was supposed to happen, it was going to happen. So I went on ahead and got started about the end of July last year. Um, a young lady by the name of Crazy Taser Lady was having like a pop up. It was a pop up event along with a comedy show, and I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and do this, because it's like, if not now, then when? And I think the timing in the whole thing was just so important because it really took my father passing away at the end of 2021 for me to realize, like, okay, I need to like really work on creating some kind of legacy for my children. I didn't realize how important like legacy building was, and people think, a lot of people when they think legacy, they're thinking like wealth and all this little stuff like that, which I mean that could be a part of it. But I didn't realize until I was at my father's funeral, like the real importance of creating a legacy. I didn't realize the legacy that he created while he was alive. My father used to box in the army, and he's from Memphis. And during that time when he boxed in the army, he was kind of a big deal in Memphis. They had newspaper articles about him. When he won fights in the army and all that little stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I realized then, like, okay, I really need to work on creating a legacy for my children, creating something that they can look back on when I'm gone and, share it with their children and, be like, your grandmother did this, want them to be able to show their grandchildren pictures of me, doing comedy or, show them clippings or old flyers or whatever from, whenever I did comedy, and stuff like that. So it's like right now, it's all about the grind and it's definitely about just creating a legacy for my children to leave behind when I'm gone.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Because, like I say, children, your kids always got to come first. And
Mm-hmm.
also want to say, I'm sorry. Yeah, I definitely heard about your dad's passing. My
Yeah,
condolences.
which that
So,
is, he's a huge part of where my humor comes from because he was a very funny guy when he was alive. Very funny guy.
one of Ronnie Jay's venues is going to be at a place called Blank Space. It's a great club owned by a great guy named co-owned by Robert Ford. Robert Ford is a great brother. Went to high school with the brother. He is so down to earth. He is a great guy. You need to check out many of his events. I'm going to start doing some shows from his events. I'm going to start taping footage. If he allows me to, I'm going to ask permission first. But Robert is a great guy, and Ronnie J just happened to be doing a show from there. So, man, kudos to them both. Because again, if you have a business or you got a talent or you got something you need me to spotlight, I want to hype you up because it's about time we all started using our forums to help one another. One of my biggest things is I am patronizing all of my friends this year who have businesses and throughout. So I don't care if you have a t-shirt business, I don't care if you have a big restaurant, I don't care if you have a little restaurant, I don't care if you're a dance leader, your son's dance, I don't care. You are going to get the spotlight from me. So here's part two of the interview. That's where you get a lot of your humor from right now. So
Yeah.
get it from him. So what are some now I'm just gonna go right into it. What are some of your favorite topics that you like to talk about?
You said favorite comics?
No, favorite topics that you like to talk about.
Our favorite topics as far as comedy. Let's see, favorite topics. Let's see. I know I in a lot of my comedy, I talk about my children. Um, in doing comedy, I like to talk about things that are relatable, of course. Things that people can relate to, and a lot of people can relate to the joys and the craziness of parenthood. So that's one of the things that I talk about a lot while I'm on stage. Is
Okay.
them.
My next question is now, and I'm going to tell you, you may not see it right now, but you're everywhere right now. You every time I see you, there's a new show coming up. How does that feel?
Um, how does it feel? I don't know. It's just
Before you answer that question, let me explain what I'm talking about. You're not just going to comedy clubs asking for a spot anymore. Even if you ever did that, you are actually
yeah.
headlining, and that's what I mean. How does that feel?
Um, I would say it feels good to be doing that, especially the way that I've been grinding because like everybody that knows me know like the way that I've really been grinding at this for the past 6 to 7 months because it's some nights when I'm doing like two open mics in one night, just endlessly, constant grind, constant, um, just constantly moving. But it feels good because it's just looking back at the grind and going to all the open mics all throughout the week, sometimes 2 times a night, and then just to see the hard work and the growth pay off. It's a really good feeling. Um, you said how the audience feels.
Or do you even talk about relationships in your comedy?
Yeah, I had one set talking about relationships. I think this was probably one of my first sets that I talked about it. And of course that's another thing that's absolutely relatable. Everybody can relate to the frustrating of dating, the frustration of feeling like the dating pool got pee in
Oh,
it.
and before you continue, my apologies, but I love all of your relationship stories. That's actually some of my favorite stories. Between your kids and relationships, those are my favorite stories. That's why I brought that up. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, stuff like that's definitely something people can relate to, especially, with me being a single woman and, you know, just coming across the craziness of dating. Like it's a lot of people, men and women that can that can relate to that craziness. I be telling people like because a lot of stuff that I talk about in my comedy, relationships or dating wise, I'm dead serious. Like this stuff really be happening to me. It just be the kind of stuff like God, it just seems like this only happens to me. Only me.
Well, like I said, we're not gonna go into any details, but like I say, some of the stories that I've heard are so awesome. And Rita, I'm not gonna go into details because y'all need to go see her show. We're not gonna talk about anything specific in this episode, so don't even go. I just want to talk to her about her comedy and everything. We're not gonna go into specifics. No, you will not get a free show here. Anyway, wait,
Yeah, speaking of, I had an ex of mine recently. I don't know if you seen my live that day. We had went to Slow Jam Sunday, and like he was really getting on my nerves that night. He really was. And we ended up leaving early because I'm finding different ways to get myself out there, as a comedian, making myself known, making my face known or whatever. And so with Slow Jam Sunday, they have it where um you can get a guest flyer or whatever. They put your picture in, name on the flyer or whatever. So like that was more so like a new way for me to get my face out there, get out there and, meet some more people, whatever. Went to Slow Jam Sunday and, he was acting like he didn't want to be there. And we ended up leaving early. And so we riding or whatever, and he get to talking. And like he go ask me, talking about why you don't never tell me no jokes. And I'm looking like I'm mad right now. Like, are you really asking me this?
Like you supposed to be 24/7 happy and funny all the damn time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was talking to another comedian about that last night because she's been doing comedy for 5 years, and she was asking me like, what do I hate the most about comedy? And I was like, I hate when you tell people that you're a comedian and it's like they looking at you like, tell me a joke.
Oh yeah, right. Be funny right now. Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's like another thing I hate too is either if I meet a guy or if it's a guy that I've dated in the past and they know that I do comedy now, they'll be like, oh yeah, you can put me in your jokes, tell them, I'm your ex-boyfriend. I'm like, no, I'm not putting you in a joke. I'm trying to forget about you. I'm not doing that. You sound like a groupie right now. Like, no. Like I hate that. It's like as soon as they find out, oh yeah, you can put me in a joke. No, they'll be like, no, don't talk about me. Don't talk about me in your jokes when it's like really. They want me to talk about them. Like, oh, that's not how that works.
Why do you want to be in my? Why do you want to be the butt of one of my jokes? What kind of? I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I've been coming across that a whole lot.
Wow, that's because you actually just answered one of my questions. One of the things you hate about being a comedian, and I can see why that bothers you a lot. So, but what are some of the
Yeah, it's
highlights?
like
Oh,
right on the side they just. No,
no,
I'm
no,
just
go ahead.
saying, yeah, people just look right at you like, okay, tell me a joke. Like, no,
So let's
I just want to be regular right now. Just, just like with my ex, I'm like, I wanted to go somewhere that didn't have anything to do with comedy. Like, I don't want to tell no jokes.
right. And I guess I don't know. And what I don't understand is you have people that don't think you can't turn it off, which you can. That's
Yeah,
I don't get that. And if you're mad, of course you can
yeah,
turn it off. Why would I tell a joke if I'm mad?
exactly,
So no, so
exactly.
no, I truly understand. So my next question for you is, what are some of your highlights about? What do you love the most about being a comedian?
Um, let's see what I love the most. Of course, making people laugh. Meeting new people. Um, just the energy that people give, in a lot of these places. Because of course, it's just so much going on in the world and so much people are dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So of course, people come to comedy shows so they could get away from some of that stuff. Get in a fun, positive atmosphere. So I just like being able to be a part of providing that funny atmosphere for people, to do that.
I love that. So, how can people get to know you? How can people come to your shows? Where can we what can we do to get to know you and know more about you and follow you?
Um, let me see, because I'm on a few social media platforms. Of course, I'm on Facebook. Um, and my Facebook page, Ronni Jay. Then I'm on Instagram, Comedian Ronni Jay. I'm also on TikTok, Miss Ronnie Baby. And I'm on Twitter. I got to get more active on Twitter. I'm still like figuring Twitter out, even though Twitter been out forever. But
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out I guess, the algorithms or whatever on Twitter. But yeah, of course, they could definitely get to know me through social media or coming to a show because, I know people probably say she on social media a lot or, whatever kind of, but thing about it is, especially from what I found out as far as, some people who book comedians, one of the things that they're looking at is your following on social media. So it's like, I know I constantly I have to be consistent as far as my social media presence and my social media content, because it's like now, that's the first thing that a lot of people that are looking to book, that's the first thing they look at. They go to your social media, okay, how many followers, how much engagement they have on their page and all that stuff like this. So of course, social media would be one of the main places that they can get to know me at. And it's also, coming to a show. I got two more shows this month. So the next two shows, the next one is February 8th, starting at 8 o'clock. That's at the Spot Sports Bar. Excuse me. And that's on St. Charles Rock Road. So I'll be at the Spot Sports Bar the day before Valentine's Day. I'll be at the Blank Space with what is it called? The Too Silly comedy show, which that's hosted and that's being put on by Turhan Bay, aka Two Jennings. So he's putting that show on. So that's going to be the day before Valentine's Day at the Blank Space on the South Side.
I love that. Welcome to Sassy's Shirt Shop, where quality meets professional meets fun. If you need a t-shirt for your events, your business, your sports teams, and more, Sassy Shirt Shop has the designs for you. We accommodate t-shirts, sweatshirts, and jackets of all sizes, all events, all specific to your needs. Ordering is easy. You can place your orders over the phone at 314-229-7163 for a quote. You can email Sassy at sassyshirtshop@gmail.com, or you can log on to her website at www.sassyshirtshop.com, where she can also do custom merchandising as well as cups and ball caps. What can Sassy Thomas design for you? Let her know and find out. See you soon. Don't forget, as we do more shows are going to start airing on Fridays. So we're going to have the Author's Corner on Mondays, and we're going to have the Artist Corner on Fridays. Also, too, if you have any ideas for the show, want to be interviewed, anything that you want, again, you can hit me up on my social media, or you can go to either my media page, or you can just email me at htcapital3@msn.com. One or the other. If you have any ideas or things you want to do for the show, please let us know. Here's the conclusion of the interview. Love that. I know the owner of Blank Space. You're gonna do well over there. So it's gonna be all good. So
Yeah.
Before we switch gears, I just want to ask you one more question before we switch gears for a minute. What if any, because I always got to add for every good, there's always an ignorant. What tries to block you from your comedy?
Let's see what tries to block me. I would say life. Sometimes try to block me from it, like just things that could occur with life. And I know I really had to fight against those things because, like, contrary to what a lot of people believe, sometimes, especially, comedians, we're human too. And sometimes a lot of us are having to just bury some stuff real deep for the sake of, doing our job, which is to um make people laugh, because we all know, when life happens, whether it's like depression or something like that, sometimes that can make you not want to do the things that you absolutely love doing. I've been there before. I've been there with poetry. I started doing poetry, I think when I was 16, when I was doing an internship at this art gallery, back when I was in high school, Black owned art gallery. And started doing poetry then, and then like later on after that, after having my oldest son, slipped into depression, and I stepped away from poetry for like, I want to say 10 plus years. And then didn't pick it back up until I had a life situation happen, which was my marriage failing. And that's actually what brought me back to it, because that getting back into writing, that helped me to just get some feelings out about it, about what was going on, or whatever. So I would say life, that'll be something that tries to stop me sometimes. And sometimes I be having to refocus and give myself one of those, a pep talk that sometimes we all end up having to give ourselves sometimes. So yeah, definitely life.
I definitely understand, because all of us creatives, our life is always trying to kick us in the ass. So I do definitely understand. Where do you
Yeah.
see where do you see yourself a year from now with your comedy?
Let me see, a year from now. I'm seeing myself hopefully taking this thing outside of St. Louis. I definitely see myself doing that. I'm getting myself in a mindset of just going outside the box and thinking big. I don't want to be boxed in with this thing. That's why I be trying to encourage a lot of my Black comedian friends to like venture out more, as far as open mics. Because of course the ones in our community, are really cool. It's some really dope open mics in our community, like Wing It Wednesday. You really have to go to that open mic. You would absolutely love it. Both of the hosts,
I'm getting
they
out
at
there.
the complete
Yeah.
fool. They at
Mm-hmm.
the complete fool at Wing It Wednesday. Like even before getting to Wing It Wednesday, they be going back and forth on social media, joning on each other or whatever, just going back and forth, getting revved up for that open mic for the night. But that's a really dope Black open mic. Also, the one that my mentor hosts, Javon Westmoreland, he hosts one at JC Supper Club every Monday. And his is really dope too. We have a lot of dope Black open mics, but I be trying to encourage, a lot of my Black comedian friends to venture out, venture outside our community, as well as for open mic. So yeah, I like going to different ones. That's why people see me everywhere, because I want to be everywhere with it. As far as my comedy, I don't just want to stay in one spot. Like I'm not waiting for somebody to just come to me and be like, okay, well, go ahead and call so and so at whatever club in whatever state or whatever. I'm constantly like actively looking for competitions or whatever outside of St. Louis, or comedy fest outside of St. Louis. I got one I'm waiting to hear back from that I'm gonna probably be a part of like at the end of March. It's like a Apollo style comedy contest. Okay, so in a year I'm hoping to, take this thing outside of St. Louis. Um Hopefully to book outside of St. Louis. Of course I love doing the local shows and all the stuff like that. But I don't want to just be boxed in. I want to go outside the box and definitely, pushing myself to think big as far as this whole thing. So I'm hoping to, go anywhere outside of St. Louis as far as my comedy. But as far as the vegan business, though, I am planning to revamp that whole thing. I'm not letting it go, but I do plan to revamp it and I'm looking to take it into a different direction, away from the catering aspect of it, especially with things getting busy as far as comedy. Um, so I'm looking to take it more so in the direction of probably blogging and getting around to different vegan spots and interviewing owners of vegan spots so that I can be able to tell people, especially if they're not from here and they're vegan, what spots to go to, what things are good there and all this stuff like that. So I'm just taking that whole thing into another direction as far as like more so on the blogging or video blogging side of it.
Okay. The reason I ask is I see a lot of your stuff on Facebook, and it's like, oh, I just want to try it, but I know you're busy with the comedy and other things. Like, I just want to pay her so bad for something, but I
Yeah,
know
I think
that's a lot of time. I know to
yeah.
go ahead.
I think what I might do, because I know I did a comedy workshop a couple of months ago at Helium, and they were saying like if you have some kind of talent or whatever, try to find a way to incorporate that into your comedy. And so I'm thinking about like finding a way to incorporate the whole vegan business, you know, into my comedy too, whether it's like a cooking show or whether it's the vlog, blogging or whatever, incorporate, make the two work together.
Right. Oh, see, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. So, back to your comedy. What reward, which you've already blown. I feel you've already blown up because you're everywhere now. But what reward do you hope to seek from your comedy one day that you haven't achieved yet?
Um, reward. I think the biggest reward would be to open, be able to open front for any of the comedy legends that came before me. Like that would be a big reward to be able to do that.
And who are some of your favorite comics?
Um, Let me see. I like Adele Givens, like her. Let's see, Dominique. Also, what's his name? Alfonso Hamburger Jones. But yeah, I like Dominique. I like new Lunel. I like her. Yeah, she had me bugging up on that picture of young Jock, because young Jock hair is blind now. And she
Yes.
commented on his picture talking about what she say, talking about good morning twin or something like that.
Long Beach.
Yeah, yeah. It was I'm trying to think, what was that? It was an open mic um in Oberlin, and the comedians were getting up or whatever, and some of the comedians that came up after me, or comedians that's been doing this, a little longer than me, and it was this one lady that was in the audience, go yell out. She like yelled out, talking about, I ain't seen nobody up there funny yet, and this and the other, whatever, whatever. And what people don't understand, a lot of people don't understand the concept of open mics. Open mics for a comedian is what the gym is to a professional bodybuilder. You know, open mic is like the gym for us. That's where we come to practice. That's where we come to try new material, to figure out, okay, what joke is gonna go over well, and what joke isn't. What I need to tighten up. Like, that's where we go for that. That's not an actual show. That's where we go to practice. And like you said, like, some people have the attitude of, well, shoot, anybody can do that. Anybody can get up there and tell jokes, and it's like, no, anybody can't, because thing about it is, it's a lot more work that goes into it than people truly know, or than people really really realize. Like, I'm not just hopping up there and just saying anything. I might throw in some ad libs, or kind of piggyback off of a joke, or whatever. But it's actual writing that has to happen with this. I'm like, I write. Before comedy, I was more so of a writer than anything. A lot of writing goes into this, a lot of practice. I'm talking about writing, recording myself, practicing in the mirror. Um, a lot goes into this, and people just really don't realize that this is really a lot of work, more work than they think.
Well, I'm going to tell you something before I move on. You do a very good job, especially with everything that you're doing. And your boys are watching. So if you want to talk about legacy, you off to a great start. So I just wanted to let you know that.
I love us, but like yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
for the show yesterday, I posted this link. I posted, the Facebook event, everything, letting people know, like, hey, you need to order online, this and that other, telling them where it's at, what time, and I be damn. One of my friends come texting me, so where the show gonna be at? I'm
Huh?
like, what? I I mean, I do make it a point to put the venue on the flyer. What time is the show? The time is on the. I'm like, look, I'm like, I love you. I really do. But right now, hours before the show, this is really not a good time to be asking questions. I'm getting myself, trying to get myself in the zone. I'm gonna need you to go back to these posts, to the flyer, to the link, you know, and all of that. And, like, I mean,
Now,
it's crazy. You can post that stuff. You'll post that stuff, and people still turn around and ask questions that are on. That's like right there on the post. I had somebody ask me I'm trying to think what they asked me about last night's show. Asking me how can they buy tickets, or whatever, and I'm
it's on the flyer.
like I said on the post, order your
But
tickets at theheavyanchor.com, because one thing I noticed about them is you're better off. They were trying to allow people to pay when they got there, but with the heavy anchor, because them people, when I say they show up, they show up. Like, last night was sold out.
mm,
And so I'm like, you're better off ordering your tickets online than waiting to get there and paying at the door, because apparently with them tickets gonna be gone and gone fast.
Mm. People gonna end
And
up
even though
getting
people
away.
don't pay attention to the black and white and what you post, I'm gonna still do a website with hopes that they'll maybe click on the link and get their information.
You know, I know you wouldn't do this, but it's like, please read carefully.
But I mean,
Please.
it's just crazy how people do that. Like, it's this guy I know that um he's been making T-shirts and stuff like that for years, and he got a website, and he posted a few caps and stuff that he's made that he's selling or whatever with the link, and you'll be surprised how many people on that post asking how much. Yeah, I want in this color, that color, and he's like, click on the link to order your stuff.
Hello?
Like, it's just crazy. You think with the way technology is now, the way we Google so much, that when you're doing business and you put your link up there, that people would just simply
Click the
just
link.
go to the website.
Right.
Yeah, I don't get
Technology
it.
made us slower. And that's what that was. Technology made us slower. That's what. All right.
I don't get it.
So what if someone wants to actually book you on their venue? How would they go about doing
um, Let me see, because I know it's usually different ways people do it. Sometimes it'll be the owner directly reaching out to you, or whoever the promoter is putting on the show, they'll reach out to you. Um, but usually, if people want to book me or anything like that, they can shoot me an email at missronniej@gmail.com, or they can always call me too at 314-580-3869. Um, to go over everything as far as booking, as far as what budget they have that they're trying to spend on a comedian, and how much time, and everything like that. I prefer well, I mean, I like talking over the phone too, but I be wanting some stuff in writing too,
it? Mm-hmm. Oh,
because
yeah.
we all know, like, you can have a conversation about what's what, because my ex-husband, he used to go through that because he's a musician, and he used to go through that all all the time, as far as like these ministers, um, they'll agree on one price for him to play or whatever, and he get there and he play and he go to get paid at the end of the night, and they turn around, pay him way less
What
than what
they
was verbally agreed upon or whatever, or they'll try to change it around real quick and say, well, I ain't say that, I said this or whatever. That was something I really had to get on, try to get him tight about. Was like, okay, I know you're a minister of music, I know, and I know this is your ministry, but at the same time, this is your business too,
mm-hmm.
and that verbal and handshake stuff, you need to back that up with some stuff in writing too, because people can change up what they said real quick. They could change it up and say, "No, I ain't say that," or "No, you misunderstood this and you misunderstood that." That way, but if it's in black and white, what's in black and white what's in black and white. Like, you can't go back and say, "No, I ain't say," because it's right there.
See,
So
I like that because
so definitely, I have to talk with them, of course, verbally. That way we can, go back and forth as far as, like, they budget and stuff like that. But I need some, even if it's just a text message, because now text messages can hold up in court too.
Hold up record. Yes, they can.
Somebody,
Most definitely.
yeah. So I need some kind of paper trail because I don't need nobody going back talking about, no, they ain't what I said when we, when we talk because, mm-mm.
Yeah.
Because then I'll be wanting some kind of compensation if you don't pay me a court title or,
You see, I
or
love us.
something.
We're famous for that. We're famous for no, I didn't say that. Oh no. Knowing
Yeah,
good and well we lied.
yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
you'll be surprised at how many, like I said, with my ex-husband, he'll be a minister of music. You'll be surprised at how many pastors
Wow.
that do that to some of these musicians in the church, which made me realize, like, growing up when I used to see, some of these churches just go through so many musicians. I'm like, okay, I see why they was probably going through so many musicians like that, because they didn't want to pay them. And my thing is, like, if people have a craft that they're serious about and they really work hard to perfect, pay them.
Mm-hmm.
Pay these people.
They just don't get that. They really don't. And see, I'm glad, but see, thing is, so that means you very talented and you know the business. You got to learn, and I'm just teach a moment. No matter what talent you've got to realize this is your business as well.
Mm-hmm.
So trust me, I
Yeah,
definitely
and you got
understand
to
that.
treat it as such too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So this is the part of the show where I give my artists the final word. They can give shout outs, they can talk, they can discuss whatever they want, whatever you want to do, the floor is yours.
Um, I'm gonna think. Um. Oh, and I also got to talk to you. I finished my first book. I had been playing with this idea of this book for,
I'm
I
ready
think,
for
for
it.
a couple of years, and I finally sat down and because actually I had met this author at a pop up shop name her name is SJ. But yeah, I was saying I finally wrote and finished my first book. Um, and I had went ahead and wrote it. I had been playing with the idea or just the thought of writing it for like the past couple of years, and I finally just sat down
Mm-hmm.
and just got to writing. I met this author named S.J. Stevens at this pop up event, and she was saying that I think it was like her first 5 books or something like that. She wrote them in like so many months or whatever. And she was like, you just got to sit down and start, even if it's just you sitting down 10 minutes a day and just writing
Mm-hmm.
and consistently doing it every day. So it's like as I progressed, I was inboxing and letting them know like, hey, I'm still writing. I'm still, still writing or whatever. Because I bought a book from her that was really good. I refer back to it from time to time. I think it was like affirmations for a business owner, for
Mm.
business owners or whatever. Really, really good book. But yeah, finally finished my first book. I gotta type it up because I'm still that type of person where like I write it out first and then type it. But I know this generation they just type the stuff up and then they'll
Right.
do whatever stuff. But I still do it the old school way, the rough draft, and then going in to edit and revise and all that stuff. So I finished my first book. The title of it is Soul Ties. Um, and based on the way that the book was flowing, I already knew that it was going to have like a sequel to it
Mm-hmm.
because it was getting longer and longer. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to cut this off, like at at this point, kind of leave it on a cliffhanger type of thing or whatever, so they could go into the to the next one. So I'm gonna start the steps, the next steps as far as like after getting it typed up and getting some eyes on it, you know, to read it to get some kind of feedback and all this stuff like that because I've never written a book. I've wrote stuff before, of course like poetry or whatever, which I wanted to go outside of my comfort zone with poetry because of course with poetry you're allowed to be a little more fluid with poetry, because of course with poetry like grammar don't really matter, don't really matter like that, and all this stuff is just more so about the message. Where writing a book, is completely different. So I think that's what was like keeping me from writing a book for the longest was the fact that I couldn't do it like I would with poetry and be so free with it. I actually had to, going to have to pay attention to like grammatical things and things of that nature. So finally finished that book. I think right now I think this is just that time in my life where I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. I'm going on ahead and doing a whole lot of stuff that I should have done a long time ago. But like I was saying in the beginning, it's all about timing. When it comes to it, it's all about timing, and it's also I think it was also a thing of learning to see myself or see whatever is in me that everybody else is seeing. Because it was just so many times when people were saying that they were seeing things in me, and it was like, I just look at them like, what? Like, it wasn't a thing of like me not necessarily believing in myself or anything like that. I just didn't see it as a big deal. And that's something I'm really having to learn is when people are complimenting different talents of mine to kind of be able to take that compliment and trying to think of the words to say, being able to take that compliment and
accept it, or
I don't even think it's so much as accepting it, but I think it's just a thing of I got to get myself in the mindset of understanding and knowing that my talents are a big deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be at work and I'll do, little artwork or whatever with the students or whatever. And, when the other teachers see it, they'll be like, oh, we got an artist on our hand or whatever. And I just be looking like, I mean, I'm just be like, well, I just drew this or drew that. Like, and, it's just easy, certain things are just easy to me. So I just think it's just a thing of just learning that a lot of what I do is really a big deal. So I'm just having to learn to see those things the way that everybody else is seeing them. Because just like when people was like, no, you are really a comedian. Like, forget all that other stuff. You're supposed to be doing comedy. Because it's like, I be telling, I'm like, a lot of stuff that I be saying, I don't be trying to be funny. I just be saying stuff. I don't, So it's just a thing of, and I think it's just be a thing of like, I be trying to stay humble and not get big headed and, you know what I'm saying? And too full of myself. I just be wanting to, but at the same time, I just got to learn how to, sometimes, what some people say, pop my shit sometimes. Right.
Well, see, that's all you got to celebrate yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I just gotta, yeah, like you said, celebrate myself. I just gotta learn that, what I'm doing is a big deal. I'm putting in a lot of work. It's okay to make to make a big deal out of it. It's okay to like, um, I don't have to be humble about it all the time. Make a big ass deal about it.
Hmm. And people always downgrade the big head. A big head is not always a bad thing. Now, when you get big to the point where you feel that get to the point where everybody around you is significant is one thing, but to get enough big
Yeah,
enough ego to just have confidence in yourself, to know you
yeah,
can fight what anybody says. That's the big head I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is too, like, as crazy as it sounds, because you got so many people, some people that be like, yeah, I'm the best comedian in St. Louis, or I'm the queen, or I'm the king, or whatever. Like, I don't even want to put them labels on myself. And the reason why I say that, as crazy as it might sound to some people, is that from what I found, when people tend to think that they're at a certain level in whatever they're doing, then that's when they get to thinking that, okay, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to, take no advice or anything. Like, I made it, or whatever the
Right.
case might be. Like, I want to put myself in a place where, in a mindset where I can continue to where I could continue to grow. Because I feel like some people like that, when they get in that mindset of, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and and all this, all the stuff like that, then that's when they get to thinking that, they don't need to seek nobody advice, or they don't need to, continue to learn, or and I'm the complete opposite. Like, I don't care how far I get into this thing, I'ma still I'ma still go to stuff like open mics,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, like, okay, people that lose weight, they lose the weight, they don't stop going to the gym.
No,
They still have to maintain it, in order to keep whatever physique that they work towards. So
still eating
why
healthy,
would
go to the gym, all that.
yeah. So that makes more sense to me than anything.
Welcome to HD's Final Word. I want to talk about the word little. Not small, but little. How's that little business you got going on doing? How's the little t-shirt business you got going on? How's that little comedian thing you got going on? People don't realize how belittling that word is. Because you don't talk to a franchise owner at McDonald's and ask them how his little hamburger shop is doing. You don't go to LeBron James and say, how's the little basketball thing going? So why do we do it to each other? We as entrepreneurs and authors and artists of all kinds need to learn that we deserve respect. So while they're sitting on the sidelines saying, "Oh yeah, they got a little this, they got a little that," they want to be this, they want to be that, they're just sitting on the sidelines. Now I talked about haters on my other shows, um, the ones that sit behind you and want to stop what you're doing to do whatever. But here, there's something a little deeper. I am fortunate to have friends, enterprising friends. Now, and the reason I say that because everyone is not lucky enough or blessed enough to have people in your circle. I have friends who run record labels. I have friends who run clubs. I have friends who started restaurants. I have friends in Hollywood. I have friends who work with people in Hollywood. I have friends who are actors right here in Chicago. I have friends, well, I'm in St. Louis, but right next door. But what I'm saying is, I am fortunate to have friends who are willing to go that extra mile for something that they want. So whenever that person says, "How's your little this going?" or "How's your little that going?" you can look at them and you can say, "Going a lot better than your hate," because everybody started out small. Everybody started out as a small business. Everyone started out as everyone started from nothing, and that's what people don't understand. So please, like my mother used to say, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. My name is A.T. Campbell. This is the Artist Corner, and you have a wonderful day.